From a rapper who got spat on for talking about dead homies to another who pulled out a blade on camera, these are the wildest and most extreme No Jumper interviews of all time. Ruga. When Ruga came on the No Jumper, he wasn't there to promote his music or talk about his career. He came with a beef with Adam 22, and things went south faster than a car with no brakes. The whole thing started because Adam had been running his mouth about FBG Duck's mother and supposedly clowned Wooski for getting shot in the head in a previous episode of the show. So Ruga pulled up for revenge, telling Adam that he could catch some hands and bullets if he didn't stop bitch-talking about FBG Duck. Adam being Adam, he tried to flex with that white boy confidence, asking what the point of suing would be when he's way richer than Ruga. That's when things got crazy. The whole thing got thicker when Adam's security stepped in, warning Ruga he'd have to leave if he kept talking crazy. That's when Ruga dropped the real tea, saying that he didn't give a damn about the show and only pulled up to beat Adam's ass.
You want a motherfucker to leave because he's scared.
Let's bring it back
If you want me to take you serious,
let's bring it back in a little bit.
Let me talk to you.
For sure.
You're going to have to be polite if you want to stay on this podcast.
Listen,
can we talk?
Hold on.
Hold on.
Then why'd you beg to come on here?
To be honest, I really wanted to come here and beat your ass.
Yeah, but you're not.
You want to go box? Let's go get our face.
Man.
Adam tried to punk him by calling him a caveman, which Ruga immediately called out as racist. Eventually, Ruga walked out, abusing Adam in his exit. 16 shot in most him. 16 shot in situation with Flacco was the type that turned No Jumper into a war zone rather than an actual talk show. 16 had a problem with Flacco for being cool with his ops while still trying to maintain a relationship with him. In the hood, that's called playing both sides, and it's a quick way to pull your neck in the guillotine. The real clash started when 16 started calling Flacco by his op's name, sort of treating him like he was the enemy. While this got Flacco pissed, the whole mode changed when threats started flying, and you could tell both men were ready to take it from words to guns.
Hey, stop playing before I smack the
bro,
shit out you.
do it.
Fuck on. Hey, no.
No Jumper security was on high alert because for real, it could have been bloody. While the cams kept rolling, 16's whole behavior showed he wasn't there for entertainment. When someone calls you by your enemy's name on camera, that's a crazy declaration of war. Wack 100 versus Flacco. Wack 100's interview with Flacco became a real fight when Wack had enough of Flacco letting people disrespect his neighborhood on the platform. Now we all know Wack 100 to be very defensive of his roots, and it may be said that he came to No Jumper for the sole purpose of confronting Flacco for allowing guests to speak recklessly about Wack's hood while still trying to maintain a friendship with him.
Come diss my neighborhood, and you're gonna find out what it is.
Wait, but like No Jumper is not my platform, it's Adam's platform, right? And the show itself.
Hey, listen. Hold on.
What the?
In other words, Flacco was playing both sides. Wack went on to explain that Flacco was being used by people who knew exactly what they were doing when it came to saying rubbish about his origins. They would come on No Jumper, diss Wack's set, and put Flacco in the middle of beef that had nothing to do with him. Flacco tried to push responsibility by saying that No Jumper wasn't exactly his platform but Adam's. Yet, Wack wasn't ready to cut him some slack. He rushed him and the confrontation turned physical, with security having to separate them. I want to believe that Flacco learned that some convos come with some real nasty consequences he wasn't ready for. Besides, he really should have directly addressed the problem, not drag Adam into the whole thing. Brick Baby's No Jumper appearances came with chaos, and this particular episode was no different. During a discussion with some dancers, one girl had way too much to drink and started wilding out completely. She was talking reckless, spilling drinks and just being disrespectful to everyone around her. When she knocked over a cup and spilled liquid on Brick, instead of apologizing, she immediately asked for another drink like nothing happened. Brick tried to keep things calm at first, telling her to chill and suggesting she got water instead of more alcohol. Angry at this, she grabbed a bottle and tried to swing it at Brick. That's when security stepped in and took her off the set. While Brick handled the situation with a lot of patience, you could see in his face that he was getting pissed at the whole scene. Just imagine if that bottle had hit his face. Things would have been so messy. Famous Richard versus Crip Mac. The clash between Famous Richard and Crip Mac happened during a heated No Jumper episode when tensions between Adam 22 and the Chicago rapper turned to steam. Famous Richard was getting aggressive with Adam over their ongoing disputes about Chicago streets, threatening to put hands on him right there in the studio. That's when Crip Mac stepped in to defend his friend Adam 22, telling Famous Richard that if he wanted to get physical, he'd have to go through him first. And trust me, with that big body of Crip Mac, Richard is definitely going to have a hard time even getting past him. The whole thing got heated quickly as both men squared up, with Crip Mac daring Famous Richard to make good on his threats if he was a man. While security allowed them to argue it out for a bit, they had to jump in before any jaws were popped. But you could tell both men were serious about taking it there.
Ain't never gonna let Cub get beat up in here.
On Fight Crip.
Right, on beans. Cause I'll tee this bitch up on King Day.
Do it.
Come on. Come on.
I'm not seeing it.
I'll tee this bitch up.
That's my best friend. That's my bestie.
He gonna save you.
After this incident, Adam banned Famous Richard from ever returning to No Jumper, proving that he had gone too far with his whole Macho Man vibe. At least thanks to Crip Mac, Adam would be keeping his head intact. Sharp versus Blue Jasmine. Sharp's interview with Blue Jasmine turned into a roast session that got way too personal. The whole thing started when Sharp brought out Blue Jasmine's book and completely trashed it on camera, calling it garbage and saying she shouldn't have even written 48 words, let alone a whole book.
48 lost to who? You shouldn't even wrote 48 fucking words in there and they published it.
A good chapter.
He was going hard on her content, saying chapters like identify and stay away from the Dusties instead of whatever she had written. It got real serious when Sharp revealed he had to send her $500 just to get her to come on the show, calling her broke and desperate to make a face for any opportunity, at least by rumors. Jasmine tried to defend herself, of course, saying she was already planning to come and had bought her own transportation, but Sharp wasn't hearing it. For a fact, he brought actual cash to the interview just to show her what real money looked like. I really felt bad for Jasmine at that point. Then Blue Jasmine confronted Sharp about talking about her in other interviews, claiming he'd been mentioning her name constantly like he was obsessed with her for some reason. Sharp fired back, saying her name was garbage and wouldn't bring any money to any platform. Then it got crazy. Sharp called her a homophobic slur, crossing every line of professional conduct or at least podcast lingo. Blue Jasmine held her own though, pointing out that no woman who watches the show respects Sharp because all he does is take money from women, which I will say is true to a degree. Quite the comeback for someone who seemingly couldn't afford her taxi. Slim 400 came to No Jumper with beef that could have gotten him killed. After getting shot 9 times and ending up in a really damned condition, Slim discovered that Adam had posted his hospital address online. To point things out, that kind of leak could have led to Slim getting finished off while he was helpless in a hospital bed. When Slim confronted Adam about the situation, Adam's response was completely tone-deaf. Instead of taking responsibility, he tried to play it off like it wasn't a big deal, even joking about Slim already being shot 9 times and asking if he wanted the shooters to come back to the hospital.
Damn, that is fucked up.
I already got shot 9 times.
I know.
You want them niggas to come back to the hospital?
That didn't happen, did it?
The most disturbing part was how casual Adam was about the whole thing. He admitted to deleting the post after Slim told him to, but by then the damage was already done. Screenshots had been taken, blogs had picked up the information, and Slim's location was compromised. Adam's explanation that he deleted it as soon as Slim told him to show he didn't even know how dangerous the case was until someone explained it to him. If Slim had been nabbed though, it could have been a whole different story. Sadly, Slim was actually killed in December of 2021. King Yella's beef with Adam 22 was more about respect and misrepresentation than some random Chicago drill clash. Every time a Chicago rapper came on No Jumper, Adam would somehow work King Yella's name into the convo, usually referring to him as some kind of top GD member. Yella got tired of being labeled, especially since he was trying to distance himself from that lifestyle and focus on his music career. It started when Adam told Yella that Ibra and Namir was coming on the show next, apparently trying to cook up some tension between the two, who already had some real bad vibes. Adam kept pushing for it though, saying he sensed that Yella was nervous about the whole thing.
People run until people should not be in here when you got other people coming because you don't know, so you're not even asking that.
No offense, I don't think Munchie B and Spider Loc are worried about a GD from Chicago.
Trying to clear the air though, Yella mentioned he wasn't worried about anyone and that if something went down, it would be all on Adam for stirring up unnecessary drama. He then went on to call Adam out for always dragging his name into every No Jumper interview, even when the guests weren't even mentioning him. Like, come on, why mention his name if he's got nothing to do with your interview? At length, Yella walked off from the interview still pissed because Adam didn't quite know how his actions could have cooked up something really damaging for Yella. Orlando Brown and 4Extra. The Orlando Brown and 4Extra situation was a sick mix of chaos and fun from the moment they walked into the studio. Now somehow Orlando had some kind of personal issue with 4Extra and wasn't exactly trying to hide it on camera. From the very beginning, you could tell that Orlando had a totally different vibe and 4Extra was getting more and more pissed as the talks went on. Orlando kept bringing up 4Extra's rival gang ties and calling him Kiki Palmer, specifically for wearing blue colors in the past. Clearly, he was trying to provoke 4Extra by using his enemy's gang name while speaking about him. Just so you know, Orlando also hinted that he had seen 4Extra in Diddy's mansion, apparently baby oiling with Diddy. So how did 4Extra react? Well, he tried to check Orlando multiple times, telling him he wasn't his blood and that he didn't know him that much to talk about him like a dummy. Did this stop Orlando? Nope, not even by a hair length. Orlando still kept up with the bitch calling, even going as far as calling 4Extra by feminine names and challenging him to an actual duel.
Man, I seen you at the mansion, man. You
What
came to the
mansion?
house.
What mansion?
What?
You see me at
My
the
house.
mansion?
Diddy's mansion?
You know I was on the drugs.
Niggas wildin'. Stop. Why is everybody so fucking
He's not
annoyed?
Diddy affiliated.
Would y'all stop?
Never that.
Can I tell the truth?
At this, 4Extra had enough, so he resolved to getting his hands on Orlando and actually giving him the duel he wanted. TMZ got the clash on camera when it first went viral. Luckily, security worked hard to separate the two. But believe me, I'd say that Orlando should have gotten a broken nose for that awful behavior. The whole name-calling was totally unnecessary on air. Almighty Suspect versus Brandon. Almighty Suspect's meetup with Brandon turned into one of the most dangerous moments in No Jumper history. The two got together for what was meant to be a casual debate, but Brandon kept talking tough and pushing the agenda that Suspect was too weak to fight. But trust me, it didn't end there. Brandon went on to call Suspect a bitch, probably the most annoying word to be used in the drill scene. Turning his head, Suspect got all angry and spat right on Brandon's face.
Chef, you are a guys.
But that wasn't even the scary part. Things went way overboard when the cameras went black. Apparently, while the cams weren't recording, the suspect had pulled out a blade and directed it at Brandon. Luckily, he was held down by the security before his hands could go any further. This was actually one of the rarest cases where a clash on the No Jumper show involved a weapon. In some interviews, though, guns were pulled out. Gravedigger Quez. Gravedigger Quez's No Jumper appearance was more of a tutorial on how to completely destroy your own name on camera. Adam had called him out for being ignorant throughout the entire interview, and Quez seemed somewhat proud of it, even saying he was against knowledge and didn't want to learn anything new.
Do you realize
don't
that
need
the
Google,
internet
man. You don't
has
know.
all of the world's knowledge available to you, and all you have to do is type in a
I'm
question?
against knowledge. I'm against knowledge.
That much
I'm
is
against
apparent,
knowledge. Yeah, I'm against
Okay.
knowledge. I don't want to history.
Now Adam had pointed out that Quez was just famous for bragging about the rumor that he killed his cousin, which is actually true and is probably the most shameful thing you can be known for. Instead of trying to change the narrative or clarify the case, Quez doubled down on it, saying that he didn't care and he refused to use Google or educate himself about anything. Seeing Quez was more or less roasted, Adam went on to completely cook him, adding that in 10 years Adam would still be rich while Quez would still be clout, chasing off a body. Did it end there? Nope. Adam told him straight up to leave, and Quez threatened to kill him in the parking lot. Talk about one who wasn't one bit scared when he murdered his cousin. When Adam asked to see what weapon he had on him, Quez's response actually explained why Adam called him dumb. 607 Unf vs Munchie B. The heat between 607 Unf and Munchie B started over city differences in how different gangs handle conflicts. While it all started with Unf explaining that St. Louis fights are more than just fights, it quickly became a clash when both sides started dissing each other. Of course, Adam would just sit down and roll on his seat, he's just here for the tea. As things went on, Munchie had to check Unf when he started talking recklessly about Hoover sets, telling him to watch his mouth if he didn't want to land himself in some real trouble.
I'ma slide back on him later. I'm from St. Louis. Nigga, I'm a caliber.
Bald head man gonna pack you
I
out.
don't even follow 4Extras.
Nobody
But
gonna
I
pack
know
me
some
out.
hoes that do. I'm gonna have them DM this Hoover tat.
Come on, guy, I'm straight
Nah,
Hoover.
you gotta bang your shit. You
I'm
gotta
Hoover,
bang
Hoover
it.
slide remover.
You'd expect that Unf backtracked, but he sort of just gave a rash apology, saying that he forgot Munchie was affiliated and that it was an accident. To be honest, when it comes to talking gangs and throwing signs, it's best to say things you had no ideas about, not to talk of abusing a whole gang. Whether it's the O-Block or No Limit or Bloodhounds or even the much smaller Hoover set, you shouldn't throw shades unless you're cool with the consequences. Gotta say, I really doubt Unf was ready, and even though he apologized, I still see it as salt on an open wound. FBG Butta vs Whack 100 Day. FBG Butta's meetup with Whack 100 and Adam 22 was totally about Chicago's most sacred figure, Mama Duck. Butta came to No Jumper to address how they had been trolling and making jokes about Duck's mother, which is actually really unacceptable in the Chicago scene. Come on, Mama Duck isn't just some random person. She's basically queen in the city's hip-hop scene.
Showing the man mama love to diss her.
I said that. I called her. I can show you the text message where I said, yo, how in the fuck you were just celebrating over here at a birthday party or something, and then you got the killer of her son, right? You on some bullshit.
Butta made it clear that while he could stomach a lot of things, including them trolling him personally, disrespecting Mama Duck was way out of their line. He even called up Whack, explaining that he had been to Butta's actual neighborhood, met his real family, and even interacted with his kid's grandmother, but still showed no respect for them on air. Things kicked up some dust when everyone realized Butta wasn't kidding. Both Whack and Adam quickly changed their tone once Butta spoke up, showing they knew they had crossed a line. The whole thing made it real clear that certain figures like Mama Duck were off limits when it came to jokes and trolling. even if you were the most famous YouTuber or streamer or rapper on the block. If you liked this video, hit the subscribe button and check out our other videos. We'll see y'all later.